Believe it or not, you can scale an affiliate program to seven figures and frankly, well beyond. And you don't have to do all the work. And you don't have to hire a team of overly qualified, expensive affiliate managers. You can scale with a team of virtual assistants or even a single one. So keep listening and I'll show you how. If you're ready to take your affiliate program and your business to the next level, well, you're in the right place. I'm Matt McWilliams, best-selling author and four-time Affiliate Manager of the Year, and I've built dozens of affiliate programs from the ground up to over $1 million a month. I'm here to show you how you can do it too. Let's get started. So in the last episode, I talked about time management for affiliate managers. Now, for some of you listening, you're doing this part-time. You're doing this an hour or two a day. You're fitting this in on the margins. And for you, the last episode and this episode might not be as relevant. Like, frankly, at the risk of sounding like this is a pitch for our agency, I've mentioned it before, we're probably not adding a new client anytime in the next couple of months. So I'm not pitching my agency when I say this, but you probably should hire somebody. If you really want to scale, it's really hard to do in an hour or two a day. If you want to scale to seven figures, you need to be full-time. And so I'm really talking to those people who are doing this full-time or 4 hours a day, and you want to scale dramatically. You have to add some help. You have to get some help. Because you can do that. You can scale to seven figures. You can scale beyond, and you don't have to do it all yourself. And so, like I said, in the last episode, I talked about time management. The idea there was if you do only have 4 hours, or if you only have 8 or 9 hours, everybody has a limited number of hours, assuming that you are going to get some sleep, assuming that you are going to stop to eat, you're going to stop to do a little bit of exercise, you're going to stop to maybe have a social life. Okay, on the high end, you probably have 15 hours a day. That's what I had when I started my first affiliate program. I was probably working 90 hours a week, whatever the math is on that, 12, 13 hours a day. I was working a ton. But as one of my good friends always says, we're all part-time. Nobody's truly working full-time. 40 hours is not full-time. What's 168 hours in a week, if my math is right? I think that's wrong. I don't even know how many hours there are in a week. I have to Google, like my brain has gotten to the point where I would have to Google that. 168 sounds about right. I definitely ends in an 8. So anyway, we can come back to that later. But we're all part-time. So we need to get some help if we want to scale. So in this episode, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you exactly how to use virtual assistants. Okay, I'm talking about human virtual assistants. Now, I've got a series coming up that I'm going to talk about how to use AI, how I and our team are using AI specifically in the context of running affiliate programs. I think that's going to be pretty cool because, again, if you've got 2 hours a day and you have to optimize how you spend those 2 hours, if there's something that takes an hour, but you can knock it down to 15 minutes, that frees up 45 minutes a day that you can do the things that only you can do, like relationship building. There's no VA, there's no AI, there's none of that. They can do relationship building like you. And if you only have 2 hours, I would love if an hour and 30 minutes of that was on relationship building. And that's what this is all about. That's what we're talking about today. And in that series come up, just to be clear, I don't think that series is like the next few episodes. It's probably 2 to 4 episodes from now is when it'll start. So make sure you hit subscribe because you don't want to miss that series. I'm going to tell you right now, that's going to, there's just very little information out there. And I think some of the things are going to really help you. I think there's a few of them that are going to blow your mind. And a lot of them are like, I did one with, I'll just share one of them. Actually, I'll share 2 of them real quick. Even though I'm going to talk more in depth, but like one of them the other day, it's amazing to me that back in the day, in order to analyze, we have a new client, big brand, but starting an affiliate program. In order to figure out what's the competition paying their affiliates, that used to be a 2 to 4 hour task of going around Google, signing up for programs, finding all the information. Now it's, you ask, ChatGPT, and I got a list of all the competition's affiliate programs in 2.5 minutes and was able to come up with the exact commission to pay. Like, that's a one-time savings of 2, 3, 4 hours of my life that I can devote to other things. That's pretty freaking cool. And then obviously there's so many more uses that we'll get into in that series. Some of which are like, they're the things that save. We wrote I created a GPT that basically every day we upload the stats from the day before, and it analyzes those stats and it tells me exactly like, okay, here's who's, we green flag, yellow flag, and red flag affiliates. Like, here's who's up. Yellow flag means they might be down a little bit, but it's not, it's not a huge down, so probably don't want to do anything about it yet, but keep an eye on them. Because if you see somebody go yellow, 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 you reach out to them before they go red. So again, that's the human side is the reaching out. The analytic side is the AI. So again, that's just one of the examples of the or two of the examples of the way we're using it. And we'll talk more about that in that series. But today we're talking about humans. All right, listen, the thing is, VAs can be your secret weapon. In fact, they are the secret weapon of most of the highly scalable affiliate programs that I know of. I know very few people who have built an affiliate program that has scaled, significantly, that was either went from 6 to 7 or 8 figures, or went from 7 to 8, or went from like, okay, it was already in the 8 figures. This affiliate program was already doing, 15 million a year, and they took it to 50. I've seen very few affiliate managers do that single-handedly. I don't actually, come to think of it, I don't know of one. I'm sure there is one, so that's why I'm saying I'm sure there's one, but I don't know of one. When I mentioned, did an episode like 7, 8 episodes ago where I talked about how we took an affiliate program from 15 million to 325 million. I don't mention the name of that program. If you know me, you know who it is, but I don't mention that for, privacy reasons, even though we're way past the NDA on that. I don't do that to our clients. But when we did that, all of the stuff that we're going to talk about today, or most of the stuff, because this was, 13, 14 years ago, most of the stuff that I'm going to talk about today, it was done by my VA so that I could focus on the things that only I could do. There's an old saying, what got you here is not what's going to get you there. So what got you to $100,000 a month affiliate program is not going to get you to $1 million. What got you to a sustainable affiliate program, whatever level makes you happy, maybe you're making $30,000 a month, that's not what's going to get you to $100,000 a month. The reason that you need a VA, like I've said, is so that you can focus on the highest leverage tasks. So a couple of things, some of the big benefits, the obvious ones, time leverage. Again, you're having them do things that you can train anyone to do. You get to specialize in the things that only you can do. It's very cost efficient. We'll talk about this later, but if you're paid X amount of money and you're only working 8.5 hours a day, then the cost efficiency in what you're making per hour compared to what you'll pay a VA is, the difference can be very stark. And the other thing is it creates consistency. It creates follow through. And I'll give you an example. 2 examples that we can dive into a little bit more later. But number one is typically my VAs are overseas, so they're in a different time zone. And while there is some overlap, because I want them working with the same time I'm working for part of the day, I get a little bit more coverage. And there have been times where I've done launches and I, quotation marks, I am responding to emails essentially 24/7 during this launch. That's pretty amazing. The other thing is I know that there needs to be follow-up, and I have systems to make sure that follow-up is done, but I'm going to drop the ball, and having VAs means like they can handle certain things like follow-up. So what are some of the affiliate tasks that you have that are high value, but not necessarily high skill? That's where you start. What are some of those tasks? Like, doing this is important. Analyzing data. I mentioned earlier, we've written an AI program that does 70% of it, but some of that, I would say 18 of the remaining 20% still needs a human to look at it. And I don't need to be the one that does that. I can come in at that final 2% and analyze that data. High value, following up with an affiliate via email. How many different ways am I going to follow up with an affiliate that I've sent an original email to? How many different ways am I going to word that email? That can be a VA task. So we'll talk about some of those specifics, but think about what are the high value but low skill things. That's VA. That's perfect VA territory. And then here's the cool thing. The skill level can increase as they get more knowledgeable. So today it might be high leverage, high value, low skill. 6 months from now, it's high value, medium, low skill. A year from now, my VA, my primary VA, Kevin, his skill level, it's not at mine, but it is one notch below. And I'm talking on like a 50 notch, scale. He can do things that I can't do. It's gotten to that point. So let me be clear about something before we jump into some of the specifics. If you can get your company to pay one, do it. But if not, consider paying for it yourself. So if you're an entrepreneur, just pay for it. Get a VA, 5 hours a week even to start. Get a VA, pay for it yourself. It is one of the best investments you will ever make. All right. But if you're working for a company, most of the time, I have gotten my company to pay for a VA because I sold them on it. As I talk through this today, you'll probably be able to learn how to sell your boss on this. Essentially the pitch was, listen, here's the deal. I'm currently working 45 hours a week, and here's how much our affiliate program is making. Here's how much it will make if I am able to focus more on higher leverage tasks. And I would tell them, the first 2 months, I just assume it's going to make no difference in terms of the bottom line. And the reality is it probably won't. But here's what it's going to do to our revenue. And usually with one of the programs, a 3% increase in affiliate revenue would more than pay for, and that's including taking off the commissions, taking off what I get paid for that, taking off all the fees. A 3% increase in revenue would be worth it to pay the VA. And so that's an easy decision. But years ago, I'm going to share the math here. Years ago, I worked for a company and I kind of ran the numbers on this. I worked about 40 to 45 hours a week. I was paid a salary of $6,000 a month plus a percentage of the affiliate sales. So in a good month, like December, I'd make a $7,500, $8,000 bonus. In a bad month, I'd make, $2,500, maybe even a tiny bit less. I'm trying to think probably about $2,500 was probably the worst month once I got started. The average was probably about $4,500. So I'm taking home, I'm banking about $10,000, $10,500, maybe upwards of $11,000 a month, about $125,000 a year, right? So keep in mind, I was a 2-time affiliate manager of the year at this point. But even if the numbers are lower, so maybe you're not making 125, maybe you're making 60, which I think the industry standard or industry average is 72. Today I haven't looked it up in a couple of years, but let's just say you're even slightly below industry standard, $60,000. Now, I was literally in charge of everything. Literally everything. So I started with outsourcing just the affiliate approvals and the onboarding. Literally just looking at the application. I taught them how to look at it. We got 40 applications a day. And I said, okay, and I just went through, here's the 20 or so that you should approve. These are the factors. It was basically a human algorithm. If it has this thing, this thing, and this thing, and this thing, approve it. Here are the ones you should definitely decline. There's 10 that you should definitely decline. Then turn the other 10 over to me. And so each day, I reviewed 3 days worth of stuff, recorded it, sent it to him. And then for the first week, I had him record a video saying, okay, I'm going to approve this one, this one, this one, decline, approve, decline, not sure. And then I would teach him, okay, here's the not sures. Here's how to get the not sures. And so over time, the first 2 weeks, it actually took me more time to do affiliate approvals. But by about the 3rd week, it started taking me less time. By about the 6th week, he was doing all of them, or maybe he would have 2 a day out of 40 that I'd have to look at. Then he started doing the onboarding. Sending the personalized welcome email is a copy paste email. I say it's personalized because it's not the automated one. I still wasn't personalizing it in this particular case. I was just copying and pasting the same thing 35 times a day. So now I'm no longer doing affiliate approvals. It takes me over an hour. I'm no longer sending the onboarding emails. It takes me about an hour. I've all of a sudden saved over 2 hours a day. Then I taught them how to handle specific emails and then handling the reporting and so on. And we'll talk in specific, like how I walked them through that. At first, I was spending about $400 a month and saving 50 hours. Now, I paid much better. To be clear, I paid much better than the overseas average. Okay, most of the VAs were making, at that time, again, this is over a decade ago, we're making about $5 an hour. I paid $8. This is 50 hours that I could then spend optimizing the program. I mentioned earlier, we built it in this massive program, made me a lot of money. But I also started building my personal brand. I would not have had time to build my personal brand without this VA. One VA working 80 hours a month. And at that time, him working 80 saved me 50, maybe 60. It wasn't a one-to-one. Now, frankly, he's so good that, him working 160 hours a month, he's full-time, probably does save me 159 hours a month. I would probably be able to do it 1 hour faster over the course of an entire month. But again, by the time it got to the not the end, but by the time we got to the 3-month mark, I was spending $700 and he was working 80 hours and so on. By the end, I had a full-time VA and a part-time one. I was essentially cloning myself, but allowing them to handle all the things I hated doing. It cost me, I ran the numbers, it cost me $1,800 a month out of my own pocket. Out of my own pocket. But I easily made at least $3,000 more per month. At least. And even if you factor in, taxes, take home, all that stuff. The $1,800 came, I started a business. The business paid, the VAs. So that's a business expense. And yeah, I made an additional maybe $3,400, in income and had to pay taxes on it. I still profited money. I still profited, and I was working at a minimum 10 hours less per week. I was only working about 30 hours a week on that program, and I was able to use that time again to build my brand, to take on new clients, to do some coaching, to basically launch this business. I didn't quite launch this podcast then, but all that. So I'm making, worst case is I was profiting $400 or $500. So even if you don't take that time to start a personal brand and make additional money, what if they're just helping you be better? And let's say you take off, let's just go low, 10 hours a week, and it's income neutral. You end up making the same amount of money and working 10 hours less a week. How is that not a win? That's huge if you think about it. So let's look at some tasks that you can delegate. And then I want to talk about how to work with them. Okay. The first one is just, affiliate recruiting. We're going to kind of go in order of the pros. So if I got an affiliate, I got to bring them on, I got to find them, got to bring them on, all the way to I got to support them and analyze the data. So kind of that life cycle of an affiliate, right? Researching potential affiliates. We'll talk about AI again coming up and how we can use that. But a lot of that is VAs. My VAs right now, as I'm talking, are probably while I'm recording this episode, are going to find 3 to 7 affiliates that are a good fit for one of our clients. So researching them, we've created an AI tool, and I'm going to talk about this probably during that series. The AI tool we've created, it's pretty close. It's 95% of the way there in terms of being ready for public consumption. 'Cause I use it, but I know how to get through that 5% that's annoying. We use it as a team, and we know how to use. So we've got to fine tune the code a little bit so that it's ready for the public. But it does a great job of finding the affiliates. But here's the deal. Only 9 out of 10 of the affiliates that it identifies are actually a great candidate for the affiliate program. There's always going to be kind of that little bit of a percentage where you want to check on, you actually want to go look at their profile. You want to look at the last 5 posts. Just because they promoted a competitor of ours 2 years ago and they have 52,000 followers and they've posted on, their social media within the past 10 days and they have an email sign up form on their website and like all these algorithmic factors that it looks at, it doesn't mean they're a great fit. And we can usually enter a human in 30 seconds and go, yep, good fit, bad fit. Not sure, but let's reach out and see. And so there's still a human element and they can be a part of that. Getting the contact info. Okay, so the AI is really good at telling you that my email address is matt@mattmcwilliams.com. Here's the deal. I don't know if you knew this, but when I say that, that's not my personal email. That is my public email. If you email me at matt@mattmcwilliams.com, I'm going to be honest, I am not going to see that email first. My VA is. All right, now, if you text me at 260-217-4619, that is actually my public, you can text me there, and I'm the only one who sees those. Actually, my team has nothing to do with that. I'm being 100% transparent. I will read your text. I will respond to your text. But if you email me, that's the unique thing about that, by the way. My phone number with that is like, that's a public one, but I'm also the only one interacting with that because, I don't know, I like doing it. But if you email me, my VA is going to see that. It doesn't know my private email address. So you have to have a human element that can kind of use a couple different tools and pull from them and find my private email address, which you totally can find, by the way. I'm not going to tell you how to find it, but you can totally find it. And here's the deal. If you email me at that, I am infinitely more likely to respond. And then, sending kind of that first outreach message, that's a VA task. I don't need to be the one sending the first outreach. You can train a VA how to do it and even how to personalize it. If you train them, they can do pretty much anything. Another great example I talked about, affiliate onboarding, sending those welcome emails, making sure affiliates get their links and assets, following up 3 days later. That's a task. That's a task-based thing. I used to, before I started working with VAs, when I was building my very first affiliate program, this is now 20 years ago. Holy crap. Almost to the day that I'm recording this, actually. That's crazy. That is so crazy to think about. But even like just reaching out 3 days later and saying, do you have everything you need? That's a task. So what I used to do back then, there wasn't an Asana back then or a Trello back then that I'm aware of. So what I would do is I would put it on my calendar. Sometimes I'd write it down even using pen and paper, if you can believe that. Like follow up with Brandon, who signed up on Monday. I want to follow up with him on Friday and make sure he got everything. That can now be all done with a VA. And so pretty quickly, that was one of the things that I had my VA do because it's so simple. It's so templated, but it had to be done on that third day. And I would forget to do things because I'm running a company. I'm running at that time, $100,000, $200,000 a month company. I've got a team outside who's asking me 500 questions a minute. And so I had the VA do the things that were more task-based. So the next thing would be what I would consider like content and asset delivery, content and asset organization, starting, emails to send out. So I'll give you an example of how the workflow on that. If I'm sending out an email to affiliates and we're announcing a big Mother's Day sale, I or somebody else will create the graphics, right? That's the easy, that has to be done. AI is getting pretty good at that, by the way. I'll talk later about how we're using that now. It's pretty mind-boggling, actually. But you can create the graphics. There requires a little bit of humanness there. But getting those graphics into an organized place, whether it be an affiliate portal or whatever you want to use, that's a VA task. Getting the links for those, VA task. Creating a first draft of swipe copy, VA task. adding the links to the email. So what I'll have one of our VAs do typically is kind of like give me an outline of the email that we want to send. So announce Mother's Day promo. Here's the 3 relevant links with their affiliate code for, the 3 products that we're promoting on Mother's Day. Here's a link to the portal link that has all the images and, reminder that here are the facts about the promo. 20% off site-wide, use promo code MOM, blah, 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 right? And I've got this outline. So when I'm not staring at a blank sheet. I've already got everything. I don't have to put it all together. I can focus on the things that only I can do. And frankly, again, it's not at the point where only I can do this, but the idea is I can now write the email. That's what I'm good at. I'm not good at retrieving links. I mean, I'm just as good as anybody. But why do I need to go over here and take 3 minutes to grab that link when my VA can put it there for me? So that's how you got to start thinking. It's only 3 minutes. Uploading the graphics to the portal, it only takes 3 minutes, but I got to log in to the portal. I got to do something that takes me away from what I'm really, really good at doing. Another thing is any types of reporting, performance reports, kind of doing that what's the word I'm looking for? Underperforming affiliates, that initial analysis, finding affiliates that are up, like, hey, who made their first sale? Who did this? Who's up more than 20% this month? Who's down more than 20%? Updating live leaderboards. I don't do that. I'm not the one updating the live leaderboard. That's an affiliate, or that's a VA who's going in and updating it. And then, ultimately you can get them to the point where they can help you with your inbox. Now it starts with, and we'll talk more in the training section about this, but it starts with like, okay, I can't log in. That's a basic response. I've reset your password. So I show them how to reset the password. I've reset your password. Let me know if you have any problems. So if in a launch, for example, when we might get 40 emails in a day from affiliates, in a 2-week span, we'll get 40 emails a day. It's intense. Of those 40, 35 of them are answerable by a VA. 35. And then I only have to answer 5. The same is true with Facebook messages. Most of them are like, hey, Matt, I didn't get the email. I don't need to be the one to go over to my email, find the email, forward it to them. No, a VA can do that. And they can respond and say, I forwarded you the email. So anything, again, login information. I need to update my PayPal email. I need, where's the swipe copy again? I can't find it. How do I log in again? What's the portal link? What's the Facebook group link? When's the webinar? When's the cutoff for the leads contest? Like they don't require me. And you might be thinking, okay, how long does it take to answer that question about how long before, when does the leads contest end? 30 seconds. Okay, but 30 seconds, but the average of those types of emails is probably 1 minute times 35 a day is 35 minutes. That's 3 hours a week. That is a lot of time. Not to mention that I have VAs, again, in multiple time zones and multiple people working on this. So it keeps me from having to be in my inbox from 9 to 5 when I'm actually working. And B, I don't have to be in there at 11 o'clock at night. So I can go in and take a glance at it and go, okay, I've got 2 emails to respond to. I respond to those 2 emails and now I'm back to something else. And if something's truly important, if Kevin's the one doing the inbox checking, he'll tell me there's an email from John Smith and I'm pretty confident you need to respond to that right away. Awesome. I'll go respond to that right away. So all those types of things, checking links, being an extra, resource for checking to make sure links are working, sending reminders to affiliates, activating affiliates, all that stuff, you can involve your VAs. So I want to talk about how to train them. I've kind of touched on this before, but the biggest thing is that you take more time than it takes to do a task, to train them initially. Now, the cool thing about this is you say, okay, so this task takes 10 minutes per day. That's it, only 10 minutes per day. But I do it 5 days a week. So make it 12 minutes a day, so it's an hour. That's 52 hours a year. If I have to take 3 hours, which I usually don't have to take that long, if it's 12 minutes a day task, I'll take 30 minutes to teach them. I take 30 minutes one time, and then maybe I have to spend 15 minutes a day for a week, and then I'm done. So here's what I do. I'm gonna take an example here. Approving affiliates. I'm gonna record a video. I'm gonna not approve affiliates for 2 days so that I have like 80 affiliates. Or I might just record 2 videos and, do that as well. But I want to have a big sample, and I'm going to walk them through how I approve the affiliate. Now, I've gotten to the point where I can do it in 45 seconds or less. But I'm going to take 2 minutes to explain each one probably. I'm going to click on the affiliate. I'm going to open their profile. I'm going to look at their score if it's on a network. I'm going to look at their website. I'm going to look at their socials. And I'm going to walk through why I approved or declined this affiliate. And then I'm also going to walk them through early on, like, hey, here's this one. I'm going to let you know that I'm leaning towards approving this affiliate, but this one I want you to leave for me. And here's why I want you to leave it for me. And so essentially I just created it into an algorithm. It's like, okay, here's this affiliate's network score. Their website looks really good. Their social, they've posted recently. Here are these 5 or 6 factors. If they fit all of those, approve. If they fit 2 or less, especially if their network score is low, decline. And if they're 2 to 5 of them out of the 6, and boom, 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 then leave it for me. And then again, it's iterative. So when I get those, like I said earlier, they'll approve 35 out of 40. When I get those 5, I'll then record a video each time showing them. And I'll tell them like, hey, get more confident in your ability. So all this 35 turns into 36 after a couple of weeks, turns into 37. It's gotten to the point now, I do 1 every 2 weeks. It's truly one where they're like, they got 4 of the 6, but their score's high and their site looks really good, but they haven't posted on social in 6 months. So again, they go through, it's not 6 things to be clear. It's more like 20 factors, but they look at this and they're like, oh, okay, I'm not sure. But I record that lengthy video and then I hold their hand through the process. So I walk through it and then I give them I say, okay, go do tomorrow's and let's go through it. Let's go through it together. Let's jump on a Zoom call and go through it together. And I'm going to have you do the work, and I'm going to look over your shoulder. I'm going to micromanage you for 2 weeks so that for the next 2+ years, I don't even have to worry about it. So videos, process videos, small test projects, checklist, all of these are key. And then, set very clear expectations and boundaries. Let them know, like, here's who you, like I said earlier, you are allowed to automatically approve anybody who fits these criteria. If they fit these criteria, approve them. Don't even question it. Just approve them. And if they fall below this threshold, decline them. But again, this can be done for anything. So you just teach them. And so with email, for example, what I do is I teach them how to handle one type of email. And so let's again go back to the 40 example. I find the email that's the easiest, but it's also the most common. 10 a day that are this. And I have them answer those for a couple of days. Boom, they got them. Now, what's the next most common? There's 7 of these. Great. I'm going to show them how to answer these. And then I can find these things that fit into these categories. Same if I send out a bunch of emails and I say, okay, do you want to be, basically I'm summarizing here. Do you want to be an affiliate for this program? It's not a good email, by the way. There are only 3 answers. Yes, no, maybe. So I teach them how to handle the obvious no's. They say no, cool. Here's how to process that. Delete them from our board, move the email here, respond with this. Then I teach them how to handle the obvious yeses. Great, I've signed you up. Show them how to sign up the affiliate, how to respond to that email, what to do, how to process those. Then it's, okay, the maybes. That's a little bit more nuanced. But then there's yes with a caveat. There's, yes, I'd love to sign up. Also, I have a question about that other email you sent me 3 weeks ago about this completely different thing. No, but I know somebody who sees something. There's yes with a caveat. So initially, the easy yes, maybes, and nos, they handle. That's 95% of the emails. Cool, I've eliminated 95% from my workload. The 5%, okay, they have yes with caveat this. And I go, you know what? I've had that caveat twice in the past week. Let me teach them how to handle that caveat. I've had this caveat 4 times in the past couple of weeks. Let me teach them how to handle that. So again, it's very iterative. So before we wrap up, I want to share 2 last big things with you. The first, just what are some of the big mistakes that I've made, in working with VAs over the years, and also some of my favorite tools that have made it a little bit easier. Mistake-wise, number one, this is a mistake I made for the first 4 or 5 years. And keep in mind, I've been working with VAs now for almost 20 years, almost as long as I've been running affiliate programs. So 19 3/4 years. And the first 3 to 5 years, I did not allow them to be strategy partners. I didn't allow them to think for themselves. I basically said, here's what I want and how I want it to be done. And I gave them no freedom. Well, then finally I had a VA circa 2008 who was like, well, if we did it this way, it would be faster and I'd be able to, double my productivity. And I was like, oh. So I was like, well, you know what? Do more stuff like that. And so understand they're smart people. If you hire smart VAs, tell them the result that you want. Show them where to get the information. For instance, okay, a welcome email is a templated email. Here's the welcome email. But if they have an idea for the welcome email, be open to it. If they have an idea for the process, does it need to be step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4? Or could it be step 1 and actually there's another step that if we do that, halves the time that steps 2 and 3 take, and then we do step 4. Could we do them out of order? Do I need to do them in that way? There have been times where I've suggested to the VA, again, it's step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, step 5, right? And then we repeat step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, step 5, and we do that 50 times to get the result. And they went, well, what if we actually did step 1 for each of them? And then that would save us step 2. And then we would just do 3, 4, and 5 with each of those. It's like, oh, you're right. So that's a big mistake that I've made. The other one's just not documenting processes. So in that example, when the VA says, let's go step 1 on all, boom, 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 not documenting that. Now, why do I need to document that? Because if all I have is the original training video, but we optimize it by 20%, I need to document the new one because what if I have a new VA? The reality is, as much as I love Kevin on my team, hi Kevin, he's probably going to be listening to this, as much as I love him, and he's been with me for, good grief, like 8 years, 10 years, a long time. He's not going to be with me forever. That's the reality. Like, he's going to move on at some point. I don't know if it's 2 years or 5 years or 10 years. Also, as technology evolves, the process for how we do things has changed. So making sure that you're documenting processes. Another big mistake, kind of goes along with the first one, is just micromanaging. Don't micromanage. If you do, you micromanage for the first week or 2, like I mentioned earlier, and then you back off. And all you care about is the results. Another big mistake that I've made is just under communicating the expectations that I have. If I want 50 of these done per day, I make that very clear. We do 50, not 30 on one day and 70 on another. No, we do 50 every day. And, hey, I know life gets in the way. So communicate. If you're not going to be able to do 50 tomorrow, tell me. We'll make a plan. Maybe we do 75 today and then 75 2 days from now. I get that life happens and you get sick overnight. Well, that's fine. But again, we communicate expectations. And then other big mistake is only giving negative feedback or not giving feedback at all. Give positive feedback. When things are done well, let them know. Let them know that they're doing a great job. That's basic, working with human beings, right? That's how we work with human beings, is we give feedback. Don't only criticize your children. Tell them when they do things right. And vice versa. Don't only praise them, tell them when they do things wrong. These are basic human things. So again, apply those as well. As far as tools, I use Vimeo for recording videos. I know there's others. There's Loom. There's others. All of them work great. I use Vimeo because we have a massive Vimeo account that stores all the videos, and they're all right there. We use Slack and Asana, a lot of Google Sheets, things like that. Nothing fancy, Google Drive for, things. Asana is where all of our SOPs are. We have hundreds of SOPs. And so if you forget, if there's a task maybe you only do once a month, the reality is you might forget, gosh, what was that? What was that step? Okay, I log in, I click, oh my gosh, you got to go look at the SOP. And that's fine. The big one that we use, LastPass for sharing logins safely. Nobody on our team needs to know my logins, for things, but there are things that they need to log into. So we use LastPass. And so if, heaven forbid, we do have to let go of a teammate, and we have over the years, of course, we've, let go of 10 or 12 people over the last decade or so. If we have to do that, we just revoke their LastPass privileges and they can't log in anymore. So we don't have to go change 37 passwords, which is a total pain in the butt. That's how I used to do it before password tools existed. In fact, I did it for 5 years after, the password tools came about because I was stubborn. I was like, I don't need a password tool. I can just change my passwords. And I realized, no, I can't. I don't even know half my passwords. Changing them, way too challenging. So as we wrap up, listen, you don't need to get a team of 10 VAs to start. All right. Start with one solid VA, part-time. Have them be, start with 5 hours a week. You can do that. It might cost you an extra $2 an hour. So instead of paying them, $10 an hour, you might pay 12. That's okay. For $60, you're going to unload 5 hours of things that you don't want to be doing that aren't the most, best use of your time. Every single person I've ever known that started with 5 hours was at least 10 hours per week within a month, as they started finding things the VA could do. You may have to hire one and fire them and hire a second. I will say I have been blessed. I've only had one mediocre VA over the years that I ended up having to let go after about 60 days. But I have heard people that, after a couple days realize not working, and they had to move on to another one. It shouldn't take you more than 2 or 3 to find a great one. Begin with low risk, repetitive tasks. Like I said, it could be, something as simple as, copying data that you have to do every single week and then comparing it to data in another sheet. And, it's a 5-minute every week task. Not a big thing. Low risk, very repetitive. It could be only handling specific email requests. Like, I can't find my login info. What's my affiliate link? Where's the swipe copy? Those are low risk, repetitive tasks. And then it goes from there. And one of the things I've found is, especially with the email, as I get an email and I tell Kevin, for instance, how to respond to it, he learns not only how to respond to that email, but if I tell him 3 times a day, which now I'm not telling him any times per day practically because he knows how to respond to everything. But if I tell him 3 times a day for 6 months, how to respond to certain types of different emails, he starts to make the connections in his own brain, and he can figure out how to respond to that 4th email without even asking me. But it starts with the very low risk, repetitive task where the risk, so when I say low risk, 2 things are true. Number 1, the risk of messing up is approaching 0. And if they do mess up, big whoop-de-doo. If we approve the wrong affiliate, it's repairable. It's reparable, however you pronounce that word. You can easily go in and fix it by unapproving the affiliate. Easy peasy. If they decline someone and then later we're like, oh, wait, we should have approved. Okay, it's fixable. So that's what I mean by low risk. And then repetitive is obviously the best way to start is not with one time, 2-hour tasks, but with daily or weekly 5 to 20, 30-minute tasks. Focus your time, on strategy and relationships and delegate the rest. So if currently your time, you're spending, let's say you're full time and you're spending 8 hours a day and 4 of those are on strategy and relationships and 4 on all the other stuff. Start with delegating 1 hour of those 4 and then get it to 1.5 to 2 and so on. Eventually, you should be able to delegate all 4 hours, but you should also begin to find things that they can do that you weren't doing. That's what I found, was as I got better at this, I was having my VA do things that just weren't being done before because I didn't have the time to do them. Things like posting, podcast episodes on social media. I didn't have time for that 10 years ago, but I started having Kevin do it and now it's done. And now we use a combination of AI and VA and it's done. And I get business from that. So that's something that just wouldn't be done. If it was only me, it just wouldn't be done. This is how you scale in a way that is sustainable without burning out. Like I said at the beginning, you don't build a $1 million affiliate program, a 7-figure affiliate program alone. So go hire one. Like I said, if the first one doesn't work, you'll know pretty quick. You'll have wasted $100, maybe 150 on the high end. Hire one for 5 hours. Just do it. Start doing it now. And as I mentioned earlier, make sure you hit subscribe because you do not want to miss the series that I have coming up on AI, specifically how to use AI to run your affiliate program. It's going to be pretty cool. I'm looking forward. There's a bunch of stuff I've never shared before. I've shared like 2 of them before. Well, I guess 3 or 4 now that I technically shared 1 or 2 of them earlier in this episode, but it's going to be a really cool episode. So make sure you hit subscribe so you don't miss it. If you got any questions about working with VAs or anything affiliate management related or affiliate marketing related, you can hit me up anytime. I mentioned the number earlier, but it's 260-217-4619. You can text me there if you've got any questions, and I will see you in the next episode. Thank you so much for listening today. If you know someone who would benefit from hearing this episode, make sure to share it with them. And if you have a question, you can ask it at asktheaffiliateguy.com. Questions make my best episode, and it's a great way to get featured right here on the podcast. And if you're loving what you're hearing, please take a moment to leave a rating and review. That helps others find this content so we can all benefit from it. See you soon.